Continuing the trend of absolutely incredible new Epiphones releasing this year, let's check out the brand new Epiphone Shinichi Ubukata ES-355. Epiphone have been on a bit of a roll recently, certainly with their Inspired by Gibson range that was released to a lot of fans' pleasure last year, I think at this point, but certainly the Inspired by the Gibson Custom Shop range that was released very recently. You can actually check out a demo that we did on the 59 Les Paul of that range. You know, the ones with the Gibson headstocks that everybody was really stoked about. I think they have been turning a lot of heads, and certainly as the price changes of guitars, certainly the quality of these Epiphone models that have been coming out has just been, it's kind of been blowing a lot of people away, including myself. And actually this model that I've got in my lap today, this, kind of no hyperbole, might be one of the best Epiphones that I have played in a good long time. Actually just one of the best guitars that I've played in a long time as well. And I think because of how hard these have been to get, certainly from what I've been seeing online, certainly in the States as well, that these guitars are a bit kind of like gold dust at the moment. So I'm going to kind of get in, show you what's different about this guitar to, say, a regular like 355, and just kind of tell you why I love this so much. So if you do want to check out a certain bit of the video, maybe just the sounds or something, they will be in the description below. And if you do like the content at all, we do really appreciate a like and a subscribe. But let's just jump in and check out what this guitar's got to offer. So before we jump in with the finer details, I think we should just hear what these pickups sound like. And all the sounds that you're going to be hearing are coming from a Victory jack head and matching cab that was given to us by Victory. So thank you very much. And there's a couple of effects that are actually being run through a Neural DSP quad cortex as well, just right into the effects loop. So I'll run through just some of the sounds on the pickups here. There's just a little bit of a delay and a little bit of reverb on the pedal board at the moment. So what you're hearing there, those are actually Gibson 57 classic humbuckers that are in here, and kind of following the trend with the Inspired by Gibson Custom Shop models, which I've actually got a really nice 355 in the lineup as well, but in my opinion, I prefer this one to that, and I'll tell you a bit later why. But the pickups in there, they're very kind of classic Gibson sounding, is what you would expect from something like this, and especially when you've made a mod like that to a guitar like this, it really does kind of start to shine. And that was it on a clean signal there, but if we kind of crunch it up just a little bit, let me take off some of my time-based effects there as well, you'll hear very kind of classic sort of Gibson sort of growl and push through this when I switch over to the crunch channel. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever, and you'll hear just a little bit as well. I'm going to stick on a much heavier distortion as well for a little bit more lead stuff as well. But that was one thing that I actually found quite interesting when I was doing a little bit of reading into Shinichi Ubukata's kind of playing style as well. Now, originally this guitar was only available in Japan, where he's based, and he's part of a few bands just now. His newer band called Nothing's Carved in Stone. Very kind of like rocky and like really, really distorted sort of guitars as well. But I was finding out that he used to play in a punk band also, but was known for playing hollow bodies. Now, that's obviously not anything new. You know, you do find that there's some players out there that like to use hollow body guitars for kind of distorted or punk music. Think, you know, Rancid and all that sort of stuff. But it's cool to see, you know, someone maybe with a bit more sort of modern playing sensibilities using something that is quite old school. And certainly, you know, these pickups, as I mentioned, handling everything really well. But I'll even just chuck on the big distortion channel just now and you'll hear exactly what's going on with it. And if you imagine, you know, throwing a bunch of fuzz at that, even a bit more distortion as well, it would really handle it super cool. Now, a couple of the features about this guitar that was mentioning that I really do like about it is obviously that 355 configuration there of the block inlays, bound board, custom logo on the headstock. Obviously the Bigsby comes on some other models as well, but that's always the kind of, just looks really nice with the 355 as well. But along with those Gibson pickups in there, the guitar is actually fitted with the Varitone switch also, which if you've seen the BB King Lucille, that's quite a feature on that, and it's a feature on like the 345, the 355. Now, a lot of people I see kind of saying that you never need to use this, and kind of saying that it's more of an aesthetic thing more than anything. But actually, from using this guitar, I do think there's a really good sort of use for it, especially with anybody who maybe likes to play a bit more kind of lo-fi stuff, or just wants a guitar that's got a lot of sounds just built into it. So I'll cycle through it really, really quickly on a clean channel here. Let's go up to our neck pickup for that as well. So you'll notice there's 6 positions on there with a turn of the wheel. What it essentially does is it's just it kind of cuts out some of the frequencies. So I'll play a little passage and then I'll just start kind of cycling through it. Like that last setting there just immediately sounds like you've kind of put like a big tape emulator on it, and it's giving you that really like sort of washed out like lo-fi sound. As I mentioned, even if I stick on a little bit of chorus here as well and go over to there, you'll hear it. Like, how cool does that sound? And it's all just built immediately into the guitar. And certainly, you know, at a time, maybe, I mean, let's even, just for talking's sake as well, let's hear this on the distortion channel here. Me personally would maybe get a bit more use out of that with the clean channel, but I mean, the fact it's built there, you don't need to use it, but if you do like it, then go for it. That's the way that I look at it, certainly. A couple of other things about this guitar, obviously, that make it stand out. You'll notice that the F-holes have been replaced with the diamond, like Trent Lopez style holes on there as well, which I'm always a big fan of as well. You may have seen that on the Dave Grohl signature model that was released this year too. As I mentioned, the 355 sort of bits as well with the block inlays on the bound board. Also, there's a little sugar skull insignia on the back as well, which is Shinichi's logo, which I forgot to mention that this guitar initially turned up as a bit of a limited edition Gibson model as well, and obviously still had all the same bits, but was at least about kind of double the price. So it's cool to see that most of the bits that are in here, you know, the Gibson pickups, it's even got an ebony board on it as well, you know, proper Bigsby and all that. It may be just the fact it wasn't made in the Gibson factory, but comparably, I would probably say that, like, as long as you don't mind it saying Epiphone on the headstock, mix the two of them together, you know, you're getting just as much with this, just maybe just not some of that build quality. Other standard bits on it as well. Standard Gibson scale length on there's 12-inch radius as well. You know, ebony board, as I mentioned. Rounded C neck, very, very kind of familiar to any Gibson fans also. And it's that 5-ply maple body also. So that's kind of as much as I wanted to cover it. Just, I could yap about this all day, to be fair, but I'm actually just going to play on it a little bit more so you can hear exactly what it can do. that's about all I wanted to cover with the Epiphone Shinichi Ubukata ES-355. It was actually, I did mean to mention throughout the video, I think I was just so enamored with actually playing this guitar that it does come in 3 finishes. I'm covering the ebony today. There is a drab green and also a classic cherry as well, in case you want to go for, you know, one of the more kind of traditional coloured ES-355s. I think one of my favourite things about this guitar, not only the fact that it plays and it sounds amazing, I don't think you can deny that, despite, you know, what maybe your preconceptions of some Epiphone guitars may have been, but it's one of those guitars that you wouldn't immediately know it's a signature model by looking at it. You know, even if you didn't know what his insignia was on the back of the headstock there, I don't think a lot of people are going to look at that and go, oh my god, that's a signature guitar. And also, you know, the fact that it's just such a high quality instrument, you know, I'd take this on stage every single night, to be fair. And the fact that it's that little bit more expensive than you maybe expect an Epiphone to be, but let's admit it, the guitars coming out of, you know, the Far East, certainly, they're nowhere near what they used to be back in the past. And as I mentioned, with the fact that guitars are getting a little bit more expensive these days, the fact that you are still able to obtain such high quality guitars that wouldn't have maybe been part of this name in the past, you know what I'm talking about, you know. I think you should really get this in your hands, really kind of show to yourself and sort of get any misconceptions out of your head if you do have them. But I think I'm just going to go play this for more of the day because I'm totally enamored with this thing. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. As I mentioned at the start of the video, if you have liked it at all, give us a like and a subscribe because it really does help the channel. But until next time, I've been Kieran, and this has been a very quick look at the Epiphone Shinichi Ubukata ES-355. Have a great day.